presentation.
And thank you for this opportunity. It's always an honor to do anything involving Rotary. By the way, I don't think I've mentioned previously, but I live 2 blocks from the world headquarters of Rotary International in Evanston here. So,
Nice.
yeah, normally these Python talks are with at schools or other youth groups uh, or with rangers, and they're usually a couple hours long at least. And I'm usually holding a 15-foot python, which I might have mentioned. So the with my notes. So the Everglades, I want to talk a little bit more about the Everglades itself because this existential problem of the pythons invading Everglades National Park, it involves the whole world and is important to the whole world. The Everglades is 1.5 million acres. It is the largest wetland in the United States. It is only one of 5 places on the planet that has 3 designations being a World Heritage Site, international biosphere reserve, and a wetland of international importance. Uh, and so we've lost, I've mentioned this before, we've lost as many as 98% of the mammal population in Everglades National Park. Some seem to be completely gone. Others, there is an occasional sighting. So they were brought over through the pet trade. And then in 1992, with Hurricane Andrew, there was a breeder right on the edge of the Everglades. He had over 800 Burmese pythons that all were released, all escaped at one time. And there's no way of knowing how many there are, but there's estimates, loose estimates, from 100,000 to 300,000. And as it was mentioned by President Beckham, I was asked to start a volunteer corps within Everglades National Park. Now, for that, we had to be licensed through the U.S. Department of Interior. And we were really surprised that they did agree to give us 25 licenses because when you think about it, we're inside a national park. And to be able to remove any animal from there is very contrary to the normal rules of a national park. And then to bring them to their demise, unfortunately, which is my least favorite part, that also was quite stunning that we were given these licenses. But I guess they realized the bigger picture. And the ones we caught and the ones the state program uh, they catch. It's not going to make a huge dent in the overall population, but it gives the scientists data points as to where they're caught, the conditions, the weather, the GPS coordinates, and that all helps them plan out the future programs. Uh, now the state programs, and I'll show you on one of the pictures after I give some of this information, I'll show various pictures, and one will show the state program pays the contractors for going out and catching them. And I'll show you the pay scale when we get to that picture. Other methods have been detection dogs, drones, the 2 snake hunters we brought over from India, uh, who were amazing to work with, and radio telemetry, trapping systems. And now there's some new methodologies. They're using DNA, uh, environmental DNA, which is known as eDNA, to detect pythons more effectively. Uh, and they're using automated tracking systems. Now, AI is playing, not a surprise, but AI, of course, is reared its head and is playing an important role. They're using AI-powered tools to improve the efficiency. So they're using machine learning. AI models process environmental DNA to identify python presence in water samples. This is a brand new technology and fascinating. And they're using smart traps now. So they use AI enhanced traps with motion sensors and behavioral analysis to increase the capture rates. And they use AI-driven drone scales to scan large areas. To date, the largest python caught in South Florida is 19 feet. So everybody's waiting for that first 20-footer to be caught. And I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, I do this correctly. Let's see. Is that working? Can
Yes,
everybody see
sir.
that?
Yes, sir. You're
Okay.
good.
This is where they came from, the Burmese pythons. Obviously, Burma, now Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. And it skips Malaysia and Singapore. And there's various reasons for that. It's urbanization and different types of habitat. Then it goes down to Indonesia. So that's where they originated from. And it would be nice if that's where they stayed, but because of the pet trade, they were brought over. Now, let's see. Okay, so here's the pay scale I was talking about. So the contractors that work through the state uh, get, and that's through the Florida uh, Florida Conservation Commission, FWC, and the South Florida Water Management District. They get $50 up to the first 4 feet and $25 for every foot thereafter. So this one's 8 feet and you get $150. So I guess if the 20-footer was caught, that would be another 12 feet, so another $300, so $450. But I'll tell you that I doubt if that money is even on their mind when they're out there and they catch a monster snake like that. They're just thinking about uh, the adrenaline kicks in, and then they're realizing they're removing something that is just decimating the population of mammals, and not to mention tens of thousands of birds have been eaten by the pythons. So that gives you an idea of the pay they get. It probably just covers their gas money and car repairs. And here is where they are established, the dark green area. That's where the pythons have established and are living comfortably. And then the grayish areas where it's possible they can move to as they adapt more to the cold. So this is my mentor. That's Joe Wazalewski. You've probably all seen him on, if you go back a bit to Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, The Today Show, Good Morning America. These are the two gentlemen, Masai and Vladimir. And here's Ed, who was in charge of the program when we brought these two gentlemen from India over. And this was a successful day. This was an area where actually the detection dogs had just been, and they did not detect this snake, but these two snake hunters knew where to look and how to find that. That's a big guy right there. And here is one of the other days that these hunters from India were here. And it looks like they have four pythons there. And if you're wondering whether they are deceased, they are not. They're still very much alive. You can see this guy here whose head is up in the air. So that was another successful day. And that's that many fewer mammals and birds and other reptiles that are going to be eaten. So this is Donna. I brought her into the program, and she is now one of the most important people in the python removal program. She is certainly top of her game. And this is her truck with this contraption she created on top. And the first night I went out and tried this out, Donna was driving. I was up here, and sure enough, it gives a much better field of view. So you could see down into here, into the trenches, the gullies. And we ended up catching five that evening, which is a great night. Here is a python with inside of the python was a 76-pound deer. And this was some years ago. I think that's my cooler over there, actually. And recently they found one with a 77-pound deer, and uh, there were many news articles about how scientists are shocked that it could eat something that large, but that's not at all accurate. I mean, we knew that from the get-go that they could eat prey that large. And let's see. So here is, look at this cutie. So this is a detection dog, and he's letting his handler know that he found something. Do you all see what he found? So what, you see that tennis ball?
To the
Do
left side.
you see anything else?
There he is. There's that snake.
Yep, and this is why sometimes you can walk right by them and not see them. So there's the python that the doggy found. They are well camouflaged. And then here, this is very, very important. So we use telemetry uh, and put trackers inside of male pythons. And then they hopefully lead us to a mating ball, which is this was one female and five males, all in a mating ball there. So that is a huge find and a huge prevention in uh, the offspring that would have occurred. So, not to mention all the males that were found. So, and then they put the male with the tracker back out into the environment and hopefully repeat this. They caught 11 pythons that day, over 500 pounds of pythons. And let's see what we have next. So I was asked to take out somebody who was just entering the program, and on my way to meet her, uh, this was on the side of the road. That was 11 feet 2 inches, I believe. And so I showed up with this python, and the trainee, I'm not sure if she believed it or not. I still think she thought I brought it from home. But I said, I just caught this 5 minutes ago on the side of the road. This was approaching Shark Valley. That's where I was going to introduce her to the program. So, and then as I always end with this one, this is the one that you mentioned, Joel, and this is the 16-foot 4-inch python that I caught and removed from the Everglades. So just think about your typical living room might be 16 feet. So this one would stretch from one end to the other. And unfortunately, and this is the part that I've mentioned multiple times, that I have to bring it to the laboratory and they euthanize it. So one of the things when they asked me to start the program, what I did is I went out and bought a bunch of drop boxes and freezers. The drop boxes are where the removal specialists put the python at the end of the night, and there's a combination lock on it, and it's secured to the building. And they deposit that, and then they have to call in within 12 hours and let it be known that there is a python in that particular drop box, and somebody from the lab or someone else will go and pick it up and bring it in to be have a necropsy and unfortunately euthanized. Uh, yeah. So, are there questions? Normally, a big part of these talks is a lot of questions, or if there's any picture you'd like me to go back to.